When I think of the space of design, business thinking, and just beautiful design, really, beautiful thoughts in design, I think of Kevin Bethune. He is the board chair of Design Management Institute, DMI, also had his own company, DDI, as chief creative officer, and he has a new book coming out soon. Hey, Kevin, what is the future of design, business thinking, and safety?
Hey, John, glad you asked. On behalf of DMI, we believe the future of design and business is not only about the intersection, it's about having a healthy respect for the implications of our decisions on the broader ecology, whether it be employees, data ethics, sustainability. And even that's not enough. We have to think about the threads of systemic imbalance and how that's informed many of today's institutions and enterprises. And taking this holistic view allows us to shape more inclusive organizations moving forward. I hope this helps. Nice to see you, John.
Thanks, Kevin. I have the fortune of working with Julie Finkelstein at Everbridge. Julie's been thinking a lot about the safety stack. Julie, tell us more about the safety stack.
Hi, John. Here at Everbridge, we're constantly thinking about the safety stack, and there are two specific areas we like to focus on. One is breadth. Although humans are the most important, it's not just about human physical safety. We also think about locations and whether or not they are safe and how we can keep them safe. We think about supply chains. We think about digital safety, IT infrastructure, and the Internet of Things. The second element to the safety stack is the necessary human element. This is about people at its core, and so it's really important that people be involved in determining what it takes to be safe. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Julie. Justin McElderry is an active design practitioner. He's also gone back to school. I don't know why, but he's at the Harvard GSD, the super elite Harvard GSD, if you know what that is. It's a big deal. And just recently was interviewed for Justin's podcast, so I thought I would ask Justin back, what is the future of design brand safety? Justin.
Hey, John. Thanks for the question. If we're thinking about safety, then perhaps it makes sense to ask how we can move away from safety into a place of sincerity instead. If you think about what it is people are actually seeking refuge from, then I think we always return to the same three things. It's 1, physical trauma, 2, financial trauma, or 3, emotional trauma. And if we can work as designers to not only protect, but also provide a bridge between the trauma and the refuge and make it a softer landing, I think then we'll be in good shape. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Justin. Creative people are able to really see around corners. They can sense things. They are sensate. The zeitgeist is like living in their living room. I think of Mea Cole Tefka as someone who really sees the trends before they're coming. She's worked with folks like Jay-Z and The Rock and a whole host of superheroes like that. Just wanted to check with Mea, what is the future of brand, creative, and safety? Mea.
Hi, John. I'm so flattered you asked. To me, safety equals trust. It's going to be interesting to see how our physical safety changes with the vaccines, but also I believe we need to start thinking about psychological safety as we start to unpack all the effects of the pandemic that it's been experiencing together. To strengthen our bond of trust together as the private sector and with consumers, we need to continue to engage with each other because that's what's going to make a more equitable world together, as well as the world that we want to see and we want to be in commerce with. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mea. It's really hard to scale design, and that's why design ops has come to the foreground. Alison Rand is one of the world's leading lights in the space of design ops. I just asked her, what is the future of design ops right now?
Hi, John. I'm glad you asked. So if I could look into my crystal ball, the primary areas of focus for design ops will be culture and practice. So intentional employee experience is integrated into organizations that believe good EX is good business, showing impact well beyond design organizations. And then enablement and process. So some of the newer ways of working will evolve, leveraging systems thinking and scenario planning, but some of our old school methods will be brought back into the fold. Dare I say PMO? But ultimately, I believe design operations will be one of the main contributors in facilitating harmony between machines and humans. So I hope that helps.
Thanks, Alison. I really owe all my understanding of inclusive design to Kat Holmes. When I found her work at Microsoft, I was like, whoa, been looking for this. And Kat Holmes' book Mismatch is a total international bestseller. She's gone on to do many things, and she's coming out with probably another book that's going to be amazing. I looked to Kat to understand the future of inclusive design, and so I want to check with you, Kat. What are your thoughts?
Hey, John. I'm glad that you asked. Unlike me, Mismatch is traveling the world these days, most recently translated into Farsi and Spanish. And the conversation on inclusion seems more heightened and relevant than ever, from our misconceptions about it to our hopes and dreams, and maybe most importantly, the actions that people can take in their own lives. And looking to the future, what's top of mind for me is, what does it take to build a culture of belonging? What are the practices of community and intersectionality and interdependence that are going to become vital for the next stage of work that we need to do in 2021 and going forward?
Thanks, Kat. When thinking about remote work, I was so glad to get to meet Wendy Johansson on Twitter and finally get to work with her together and just benefit from her immense wisdom in the space of remote work, distributed work, and just basically psychological safety for people who make things. Wendy is now launching a whole new program at a pretty famous tech company. And I just want to check with Wendy on what she sees the future of tech safety, psychological safety. Wendy.
Hey, John. Thanks for asking. Actually, not so much has changed since March 2020 when the pandemic began and we all started working from home. We're still stuck at home. We still haven't met that coworker who's joined our company since last year. And we still don't know when we're going back to work. But actually, a lot has changed, especially around the conversation of racial inequity in the workplace and in society. We've been seeing a lot more leaders speaking up about this, against this, and making change for their own organizations. And that has brought up a really great conversation in the workplace that continues to promote a whole new level of psychological safety, when you can feel that your coworkers actually support you as a human, not just a coworker, not just as an employee, but really truly accept you for who you are and try to have compassion for the things that you're going through. I think that's really made a great breakthrough in what it means to have that community and coworkers right now. So,
thanks, Wendy. The health and design spaces are intersecting, and the expert in that space I think of is Dr. Bon Ku, who is at Jefferson University and has recently finished a book on health and design with Ellen Lupton. Dr. Bon Ku, tell us what's happening in the space of health, design, and what are the trends for safety in the future, you think?
Hey, John, glad that you asked. As a physician treating patients with COVID-19 over the past year, I've experienced a system that was never designed to respond to a pandemic. Too many of my friends, colleagues, and patients have been infected by the virus. But I remain hopeful because I've seen so much creativity during the pandemic, from the development of the mRNA vaccine to new low-cost ventilators. And I believe that we have a chance to redesign a system to respond to future outbreaks. And we can do this by having designers and technologists work with public health experts and physicians.
Thank you, Dr. Bon Ku. Let's learn more about the product inclusion space with Annie Jean-Baptiste. Her new book is out. Annie, what's the future of product inclusion in tech?
Thanks so much, John, for having me be a part of this. One misconception I think there is around building for everyone is that there's a trade-off between building inclusively and speed. That balance can definitely be accomplished because product inclusion is all about embedding inclusive behaviors into existing systems. Most teams do some sort of ideation, some sort of research and design, testing, and marketing or storytelling. And so it's really about saying what voices have historically been at the margins can we bring to the center and make sure that we have those perspectives cascading throughout our product development and design process.
Thanks, Annie. It was Teema Kabba that figured out that writing is super important. I wasn't thinking about it at the time when the Design and Tech Report featured it, and that blew up. Teema Kabba is a leader at Airbnb in design. Teema, what is the future of writing now that we know that it's important, thanks to you?
Hey, John. I think writing is an integral part of the design process now more than ever. whether that's content writing or narrative development. And you really see that as design teams across industries continue to integrate writing as a core function. Personally, I leverage writing daily, whether that's to articulate a concept and move it forward, or it's for more vivid storytelling. Writing is what gives my work perspective, it's what makes it more rich, and it's what I go to before I ever even get to visuals.
Thanks, Teema. The space of ethics and AI is a complex one. I always look to the work of Alexis Lloyd and her newsletter, Ethical Futures. Alexis, what's happening in the ethics space, and what do we think in the future?
Hi, John. I've been super excited to see how juicy the conversation around ethical and responsible tech has gotten lately. And what I'm hopeful for is that this conversation can really help us create a more sophisticated, less naive product design and development process. And what I think that looks like is it's one where we go beyond user-centered design to something that really considers the whole community of people that might be impacted by a product or a service, and that where we take proactive measures to really understand how people might use our tools for harm before that happens, and where we bring a more diverse set of voices to the table in actually creating and thinking about what it is we're making and for whom, so that we can make better futures for all of us.
Thanks, Alexis. Another person I look to in the medicine space is Dr. Ijeoma Azodo. Dr. Ijeoma Azodo is a surgeon and leads in Scotland and is, wow, how do I describe Dr. Azodo? I always look to her to help see what is coming in terms of this mind and body and society connection. So, Dr. Azodo, what are your thoughts?
Hi, John. Great to hear from you. I'm out here in Scotland. It's looking like spring. There's crocuses in the meadow, and sun is out past 5 now. The main focus here is on the national vaccination program. So that's standing up the infrastructure to register, schedule, and administer vaccinations across Scotland. There have been some recent reports by the Alliance, which is a health and social care intermediate organization, and a major social care report that talks about creating a social care system and infrastructure. I'm taking a look at those two things to see how those impact care, so very broadly care and support, and what that means from design. The design will come out of the care needs and support needs that people have. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how these two pieces of work will align with the vaccination program and us coming out of lockdown. So right now we have some nurseries and young people back in school. And over the summer, we'll see how things evolve. Thanks.
Thanks, Dr. Azodo.